Hey everybody, welcome to today's edition of the Ingles Table. I'm Chef Bruce Brown from Bruce's Fabulous Foods in Marion, and I have a sweet recipe for you today. And when I mean sweet, I mean really, really sweet good. I am making my homemade banana berry shortcake just for you today. We've got 4 different little segments, but we're going to be able to put it all together, and it's going to be a great treat. And of course, you can get all the ingredients you need, the best blueberries, everything, right from Ingles. So what do you say? Let's get started. I have my oven preheating to 400 degrees just to start. We're going to start with the shortcake. I have 2½ cups of self-rising flour in my bowl. I have a quarter or a half cup of vegetable shortening, and I like to use the butter flavored vegetable shortening for this recipe. Just gives that little added flavor. I have 2 tablespoons of sugar. We're going to get those mixing together. It's just mixing enough so that the shortening is coursed into the flour. The sugar is all blended through, and it's kind of like a coarse sand. But of course, you got to get the shortening off the beater. Make sure all of the shortening gets ground into the flour and it's all homogeneous. It's all one unit here. The shortening, you don't want little bits of shortening all through it. Make sure that it's really well beaten in. Now, I have a cup of heavy whipping cream, and I have some vanilla extract. I'm going to pour the vanilla extract into the heavy whipping cream, so I only have to pour 1 item. And while it's blending, pour the heavy whipping cream in, and you just want to get it to the point where everything is absorbed, there's no moisture left, and all of the flour with the shortening and the sugar and everything is all clumped together. Just like that. And I know it looks a little dry, but that's okay. That's one of the things that gives us the crumbly texture of a shortcake. And most people will make individual shortcakes where they cut them out with a biscuit cutter and then cut them in half. We're going to do something a little bit different. I have a greased 8-inch cake pan sitting over here. And I put a piece of parchment paper that I cut to the 8-inch circle in the very bottom of the pan, and I greased the whole pan. The reason I put the parchment paper in is that once this cake cools, when I go to turn it out to let the bottom cool, the parchment paper lets it not stick to the bottom of the pan. So sometimes you get crumbs and everything that are in the bottom that it's not very good that way. So now, gonna move the mixer out of the way, and we're going to put cake into the cake pan. It's not much of a batter, it's more crumbly, but that's fine. We're just gonna push it around, condense it. Get it pushed to all the edges. Even it out with a spreader if you need to. "400 degrees, 15 minutes. I'm gonna go pop this in the oven. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Our shortcake is baked. I've got it cooling and turned out of the pan onto a plate. Look how nice and golden brown that is. Very simple shortcake, but that's all we need because we're gonna flavor it up now. Now we're gonna make our blueberry sauce. Fire. The blueberries, I have 1 pound of blueberries in my saute pan here. We're gonna let them cook. It will take about 3 or 4 minutes of them over medium-high heat for them to start breaking down a little bit, giving up a little bit of their juice and starting to make a sauce. So while they're cooking, I'm going to take, this is one of my neat little tricks that I use all the time, just a sheet of aluminum foil. I have my zester and a lemon, and I'm going to zest over the aluminum foil. We need a total of about a teaspoon of lemon zest to go in the blueberries. And it's just gonna be enough acid just to, the lemon zest has so much more flavor than the actual juice, but we're gonna be using the juice too. Now you see all you have to do, pick up the sheet of foil and dump in the zest. Now, while we have the lemon, cut our lemon in half. One of my favorite tools in my kitchen is my citrus squeezer. Just put half the lemon in. Squeeze the juice into the blueberries. And about a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Get the brown sugar moved around. You can see the blueberries are starting to give up some of their juice. You're getting a purplish liquid in the bottom. That's the blueberries starting to break down. And you want to let these simmer. If they get up to a real rolling boil, turn the heat down to about a medium heat, but you want to let them simmer for like 3-4 minutes. Everything gets incorporated, all the flavors are blended together. Make sure it's very well stirred, just like that. I'm going to turn the heat down. And the blueberries are ready to go. Now, if you remember correctly, I told you this is a banana berry shortcake. Now we're gonna put fresh bananas in it, but they're gonna be something a little bit different. I sliced my bananas about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch thick, and I have some sugar here, just plain granulated sugar. We're gonna sprinkle the sugar all over the top of the banana slices. You notice I used the torch to light the flame on the burner. So now we're gonna really use the torch. Now the key to making a brulee, it's just like creme brulee, except we're gonna brulee the banana slices. The key to it is to use the tip of the flame. Don't get it cranked all the way up and burn flame. You have much more control if you use just the tip. We're going to caramelize the sugar on top of the bananas so that they get crunchy and golden brown. Now, if you don't have a kitchen torch, if you watch it closely, you can use a broiler in your oven, or if your air fryer has a broiler. You can broil these, but you have to watch them very closely to make sure that they don't burn and that the bananas do not liquefy. Our bananas are bruleed. Our blueberry sauce is done. Our shortcake is baked. Now, what, of course, goes on the last thing for a shortcake? It's usually whipped cream. But I'm going to show you something, a little trick that I learned a while ago, and I use for my whipped cream when I want to add some extra flavor, a little extra tang, because this is what makes it so good. We're going to put in 1 cup of heavy cream. I'm going to put in 8 ounces of mascarpone, what they call it mascarpone cheese. Mascarpone actually is kind of it's actually more of a cream than it is a cheese. It's processed like cheese, but they call it mascarpone cheese. But it's more of a sweetened, bulky cream. So we're going to put the mascarpone down and make sure your mascarpone is more room temperature. Get those 2 items whipping together, just like you would whipped cream. Make sure the mascarpone is incorporated in with the heavy cream first. Then we can start turning up the speed a little bit to start whipping air into the cream. We're going to put in some sugar. I always like being a little bit different. I'm putting in some vanilla extract, but I'm also putting in just a touch of almond. And believe it or not, just a pinch of salt. Just a pinch, just a touch. Just enough to really make it heighten the flavor. Get them all in there. We're going to get this turned way up. There we go. Homemade whipped cream is actually so easy to make, and it's worth the effort. Okay, now comes all the fun. We're going to get to put all of this together. We have our shortcake. I'm just going to cut. And instead of doing small individual shortcakes, we're going to actually cut wedges, almost like pie pieces. Now, if you want to turn your shortcake sideways and slice it like this, we can. Notice, this is very, very firm. On the first level, we'll take some of our blueberry sauce. Ladle it on. Put the top on. Some more blueberry sauce cascading down the edges. And of course, we can't forget our bruleed bananas. Put the bananas strategically on the top and on the side in the sauce. Bananas and blueberries go so well together. Just like that. And then finally, of course, whipped cream. whipped cream on the top, on the bananas, on the blueberry, on the shortcake, banana berry shortcake. This is a real treat. It's a little different than your traditional strawberry shortcake. I think you really like this. If you don't want to try to brulee the bananas, just plain bananas on it makes it really good though too. But go on ahead, take the extra step. It's something special. And that, my friends, is my banana berry shortcake. I hope you enjoy it. I know I will, and I know the crew will too, because I have plenty of it here. Until next time, I'll see you then. Don't forget, get all the ingredients right at Ingles.